Hello, AfterBuzzers. You're watching the after show for Succession, Season 2, Episode 1, The Summer Palace, where tonight we talk Kendall resurfaces, the Summer Palace meeting, and Shiv's takeover. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Well, welcome, guys. We are back. We're here for the first time covering Season 2, Episode 1. Hey, guys, I'm your host, Shaka, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Mr. Ryan Nilsen. What's up?
How you guys doing? Really excited to be here. Been watching since last year, Season 1, where this show was kind of flying under the radar a little.
But now I feel like it's getting a lot of play now. People
ton of buzz since the Emmy nominations, and Season 2 just hits off with a bang. I'm Ryan. I'm the head of Popcorn Talk here at AfterBuzz. Could not be more excited to talk Succession.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Of course, guys, we have our news, our predictions, our hellacious quote, and our top 3 traditional news killers that we'll talk about later in a special segment. But let me get your overall thoughts of this episode.
Overall thoughts. Yeah. Well, again, Season 1 was a complete revelation. I thought that was one of the best shows of last year. I was really interested to see how they follow up with it. And I thought that this episode hit off with a bang. Yeah. I thought that it's interesting to see Kendall recovery from the tragic car accident from last season that left someone dead, and just seeing him deteriorate in a way, as well as where all the other family members are for the time being. Shiv's rise, Kendall's demise, and it looks like Roman's just staying in the middle there. So I'm really satisfied with the first episode of Season 2.
Yeah, I love it because I feel like it's like lines are drawn now. We kind of know exactly where the season's going to take us. They're gonna go for it. They're going to stick to the play, and we'll see how it plays out, because it looks like they might play a little dirty. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, a little dirty.
But let's talk about Kendall resurfacing. We get that great image of him coming out of the pool, sort of like really just kind of, and he's just left the water, really.
The first scene of this season, he's almost fully underwater.
Yeah.
Where last season he left, leaving someone dead in the water.
In the water, exactly.
Crazy
so it's like a kind of a rebirth a little bit for Kendall. What do you think about his arc this episode?
I mean, so again, last season, he was he was getting back into drugs, relapsing away for coke,
which it seems like he hasn't quite left.
He's definitely not left it. I mean, last season he was trying everything from like crystal meth to all this other stuff, and now you can tell he hasn't gotten better. So I think he is just complete deterioration. We didn't get to see his ex-wife and kids at all this episode. And so I'm curious to see what's going on with that, because they didn't really talk about it all this episode. But yeah, his dad just has his arm around his neck. Like he's got complete control over him. He was trying to do a coup twice last season, and both failed miserably. Yeah. And we even get that towards the end where they say, you had the whole world in your hands, what happened, and he can't tell anyone. There's no way he can reveal what he did, because he would get out. He would go to jail.
And he almost looks like sort of that lost puppy this entire episode, because he's taking everyone's abuse, but he kind of has to take it because he deserves it, right?
Has to.
It's just like, and so he gives that press conference, what was your take on that press conference?
Well, what's killer? So right before he goes on air, his nose starts bleeding, and they're like, "We're calling it off. We're calling it off. I can do this." And they bring him on screen, and they're immediately saying like, "Why did you do this?" And he just says the line they give him. Yeah, I saw both plans. Dad's plan was better.
And he looks like he was just dying the entire time, just like he didn't want to be there. The last place he wanted to be.
The definition of dead inside. Yes, that is the meme.
But I think but he needed that sort of punishment. He needed to he's trying to, I guess, pay his penance right now.
Right, and I mean, I think he's a really great character. We see there's a bunch of these characters that have come about, I feel like, on certain HBO shows like Jaime Lannister and Game of Thrones, even Jesse in Breaking Bad, but never I don't think it ever happens this quickly. Like the first season, so many bad things happen to him, and he's hit a low multiple times.
Yes.
So now I don't know where he kind of goes from here. There's been no real indication of how he's gonna rise back up. He's kind of trapped.
But it looks like his dad isn't gonna completely leave him out of the cold. He names him the co-CEO, and I saw a little glimmer in his eyes. He delivered that last line to Sandy Furness. It looked like almost like he was finding his voice. So maybe he might be the sort of hitman of this family.
Some recovery.
Yeah. What did you feel about that?
I completely agree with you. I think his siblings, though, have never been more pissed at him.
Yeah, you can see that.
And you know, they've had this as such a tumultuous family. They just have the craziest relationship, but I don't think they've ever been more mad at him.
That scene with Shiv and Roman, I mean, that was just line after line, just cutting him.
Oh my gosh.
But he took it because I guess he kind of knew that he had to, right?
Right, and he can't share it with them.
Yeah.
Which is
exactly what happened.
Horrible to think, like the one person you probably could share something like that with is your family.
Yeah.
And he can't share it with his family.
Yeah. And of course, we can get predictions later, but I have a feeling Andrew Dodd, that name is going to come up again because I just can't see that. Well, let's not forget, right?
Yeah.
But before we go on to topic 2, we want to make sure that our viewers can talk with us and chat with us and interact. And I think you got a couple words about that.
Yes, guys, we just want to thank you for making us the ESPN of TV talk. You know, AfterBuzz has given us both such a great platform to talk about our favorite show. So if you could just help us out, that would really help the show grow more and more. So if you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment down below, go on iTunes, give us an iTunes review. That really just helps grow the show more and more. Thank you so much for making our lives better. It means so much to be a part of AfterBuzz. Shaka and I love being a part of AfterBuzz. So thank you so much for doing what you do, and we love doing what we do.
Yeah, 5 stars and good comments. That's what we like. Now we got to talk a little bit about that Summer Palace meeting.
Oh, yes.
But I think the Summer Palace, I would just love to have a regular home. Forget a vacation home that looks like that. A regular home that looks like that.
A palace, yes. Well, what's interesting is I Googled Summer Palace, and apparently that was the name of the King Dynasty. That's where they would vacation. That's what they referred to it as, the Summer Palace. Yeah. So it's just, I think that kind of goes in the history of royalty, of monarchs, of a place where they would go. They wouldn't just call it a summer home, like you were saying. It's a palace.
Yeah, and this is a different family, because sometimes you have to be reminded that we're watching a different family, because there are some things that kind of parallel us, but they live life in a different way.
Oh, they're royalty.
And so we see that, right?
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is the first thing every single time a character entered the home, they're like, "What's that smell?" Yeah. I think that was a major symbolic note for this entire family. There's such a stench around the Roy family name that it's in this house, and they don't even know. And when you find out what the stench is, with that, was it a raccoon?
Yeah, the bag of raccoons that he thinks a contractor puts there. Yeah,
and there's the little bugs on it. Yeah. That is completely what's going on with this family. They're slowly being eaten away by each other. It was incredible symbolism for the show.
I missed it, but I love it that you said it, because it's like, oh, mind blown right now. Of course, that was amazing.
That's nuts. There's just a stench with the Roy name, but yeah, they're in the Summer Palace, and
there was one-on-one meetings. Like, how intimidating!
Right. Well, and there was first the group meeting, and then Logan slowly realizes that, or quickly realizes that it's going nowhere. Yeah. He's got to talk to everyone one-on-one. I think he talked to Roman first.
Yeah, and you even see a little distrust there. Roman didn't even want to give his opinion in
front of everyone,
in front of family.
Absolutely not. But and we didn't really hear Roman's meeting, but he comes out joking like, "Oh, you offered me CEO."
We got a little bit of the direction he wanted to take it in. Yeah.
He's like, "I have a plan," but I don't think he took it that seriously.
So, were you expecting Logan to offer it to Shiv?
I wasn't expecting that, but that was the big thing this episode. Shiv, I think, is going to be, in season 1. Kendall was, for the most part, the main character. He was the guy we mostly followed. He was the big player, the one staging all the coups. Everything's happening to Kendall. I think that's going to be Shiv for us this season. I think she's going to be more in the limelight. She's going to be more the main central focus, because now she is who's going to inherit the company, or at least that's what they're building up. So I got a sense that they were focusing a little bit more on her this episode in ways they haven't before, because at the end of last season it was her wedding with Tom. And she's not affiliated with the company.
And now it seems like she's always wanted to be, the way she took that. It's as if she felt she wasn't good enough, that her father felt she wasn't good enough, so she didn't want to be a part of it. But now that she's sort of being accepted, she wants it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and they even, in one of the previews, I think they were recapping season 1, they showed that scene where they go out to dinner, and where Logan tells Shiv, I always thought you were the smartest, which might have just been a lie, and he might have just been some tactics for himself. But I do legitimately think she is the smartest of the 3 of the kid. Well, 4 if you count Connor. But so I think she is the smartest. And it's smart.
I think there might have been some sort of maybe misogynistic sort of tone, with that era of those men in that time. They may have seen a female leading a company is not the first option, but it seems like now he said, wait, you are the smartest. I should be going with you.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I think he's not with his. That's why Logan isn't with his wife anymore. Yeah. That's why they went to England for that wedding. I mean, I think she saw that in him, like the misogynist tendencies, the sexism, and so it's a little uncharacteristic. He's definitely got something planned and hidden down the way. I mean, we can say that for predictions, but there's something going on there. He wouldn't just offer it to her. He's got something for his own well-being.
Well, yeah, it seems like every move he makes, that's going to be part of it, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, Shiv's takeover looks like she's also going to do something to help Tom, and what kind of brings us to their interesting marriage and how they relate to one another. What do you think about their marriage? I guess, is it an open marriage, and how they're relating to one another as business partners?
It's so funny. One of my favorite moments of last season was at the wedding for Tom and Shiv. You know, everything comes out. I think they're in a fight where Tom confronts her and says something like, "Are you, is this real? Like, are we actually in love with each other? Because I'm in love with you, but I think you've been messing around." And she admits that she was unfaithful. But right after she did that, she realized she truly does love him. And I actually thought that was a really fascinating move for this show to go. It felt a lot more real, and it's just something you don't see on TV sometimes. So I love their relationship. And at the beginning of this episode, they're on a honeymoon, and I just think that they're great together. And what's funny is, so Tom totally knows he is never going to live up to her siblings. Like he knows he's the guy in the back seat. He knows that she's way more rich than he is. So he knows his place. And that's what's so, I think, funny and appealing about that character is he's just so self-aware of where he stands. But yeah, I mean, he uncovered some really horrible things from the company's past last season, and he shared them with her. So she's aware of them. I think that's why she made that poll to put him in the global news circuit. But the thing is, she also said to her dad, "Lose news."
Yeah, I think they have a really good working business relationship, and I think that might see some things down the line. But yeah, we'll talk about it later. But I love that moment where they're on the honeymoon, and she goes, or he said, "Do you want to end the honeymoon?" She goes, "Well, no. Do you want to end the honeymoon?" But clearly they both want to end the honeymoon and get back to work. So I love that they were actually both on the same page and trying to broach each other about this topic.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, so it showed to me a little bit how they do really work well together.
Yeah, because on paper, they probably have the most weird relationship, but after watching it, I actually think they have the healthiest. I think they legitimately love each other, and they legitimately trust each other.
And they're truthful about each other to one another. Now
you can't say that about any other characters on this show. Maybe Marcia and Logan, but they're not. I think they're stronger. Yeah, I honestly do.
And I mean, I actually love the Marcia-Logan relationship. And we got to talk about that when we get to our quotations, because they had some great lines between each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, they had a great back and forth.
So do we have a little bit of news now?
Oh, we're moving to news. Well, right before we do that, I just wanted to touch on. There's one really funny moment because we didn't get a lot of Greg this episode.
No,
but the one moment we did get was, I think he got drugs for Kendall,
and they were they just weren't quite up to par.
Yeah, he got them from someone in the park, like a park.
I believe the word was
mule.
Park Coke.
Park Coke, and he's like, "Yep, that's the worst Coke I've ever had." One of the funniest moments for sure. And at the end of last season, I was surprised we didn't get anything on this, but at the end of last season, Greg casually mentioned something about, I copied some of the papers that I was supposed to shred about the thing that Tom uncovered about the company, some of the bodies in the closet, and he's going to leverage that.
Of course he's going to leverage that.
But now that Kendall's not. That was before the accident,
and we have to still see how savvy Greg is. 'Cause I'm not sure how savvy he is with this leverage that he's going to probably try to use down the line.
Right, and I think another thing with just being how savvy. When that happened last season, I remember Kendall said, "I see you, Greg." That line of "I see you," I think everyone uses in this show when they're actually like, "I know what's going on."
Yeah, I know what's going on.
I think even. Logan says that to the contractor for the chimney this episode. He mentions, like, "I see you. I know what you're doing."
But it's almost, it's an acknowledgement. It's almost really condescending because it's like, here you are. You're someone I wouldn't normally see because I'm at this level. So you wouldn't even be on my radar. But here you are trying, and so I'm going to acknowledge you and say, you know what? I see you.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I think we might think of it differently, but I think for other people, they don't even see certain people in their purview. So it's acknowledgement, but condescending acknowledgement at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry to push back on the news, but we can totally get into it now if you like.
Let's do it.
Sweet.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, so there was a big article today for the Hollywood Reporter, just basically announcing that, okay, we got Succession Season 2 is back. This was a story about how Brian Cox, who plays Logan, he's also Stryker and Wolverine. That was another thing. We had a funny, sorry to bypass this, but we had a scene between two actors who played Stryker in the X-Men universe.
And we're like, wait a minute.
That was nuts. But
that was Jamie. That was Jamie.
Yeah. So Brian Cox ran into someone, passed him in London over the summer, and basically said, "Oh yeah, I love the show." And he's like, "Oh really?" He's like, "Yeah, but my wife has a hard time watching it." Turns out that guy was Keith Tyson, who's married to Elizabeth Murdoch, who's the daughter of the Murdoch who runs Fox News.
Yeah, Rupert Murdoch. Yeah.
So she must feel like it's about her family, a little too close to home.
Yeah.
But it's just so interesting to know that these billionaires, their families that this show is about, really are watching the series and have like told the actors like, "Hey, take it easy on us,
please."
Even though they're not calling them out by name, it's pretty close
because they know what it's about. They can see it for themselves. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's a really funny thing, and I kind of hope that we hear more about just famous families who watch the show. I want to hear their take on it, like how accurate is it? How close to home?
And I would say so far this has been pretty grounded, right? Yeah, this whole series is like they've done crazy things, but really within the legal limits, and like they've gone after. Everything's grounded in what would actually happen. Nothing's too crazy yet.
Everything's really grounded for the most part, and I just everything about just passing down the torch, what it would actually be like how how difficult it is to really take over a company, but it can kind of fall through the cracks if you're not paying attention to who's got the most amount of stocks and shares.
And asset swaps. My financial knowledge is going up with this series.
It makes it very digestible for a viewer who's not really attuned to that type of thing. But it's very accurate. And from all, just the fact that one of the Murdochs, the daughter, watches it. It's so funny. But yeah, that's all I got for news this week.
Awesome. Well, let's get into our hellacious quotes. Ooh. So we're going to go through a couple of quotes that we both found pretty fascinating. And I would say the writing on this show is so good. We could probably do it for an hour. Yeah. But
savage lines.
What do you got?
Okay, well, back to this whole chimney thing. So every time one of the Roys came into this house, the Summer Palace, they just had to comment on the stench. Like, what is that god-awful smell? And when Logan Roy came into the Summer Palace, he goes, "This smells like a cheesemonger died and left his dick in the brie."
I love that line.
Ooh, yeah, just kind of crazy. So I love that line.
What's a cheesemonger? I was like, I didn't even know that was a term.
And just comes up with that right on the spot. And to the point where once they find out what it is, the raccoon, they had to throw away all the other food.
He didn't even forget it. It's been sitting in the stench. I don't even want it here.
We're getting pizza. Yeah. That was great. Let's go back and forth. Yeah. What was one of yours?
So I really love... I love Marsha. I love her. And she's awesome. Got some good lines, a few good lines. One of her lines was to Kendall, "Out of difficult times come strong men." And I love the line, but I also loved what it said about the relationship, what she was trying to do with that relationship between her and Kendall. And so I like that line. I thought it was so true. And I love the way she was trying to build him up in this time, because he's getting ragged on by everybody right now.
That was actually going to be my next quote too. Yeah, that line, it's such a good line. Yeah. And I really hope that comes true.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's not, though.
I don't know. Kendall, I would say towards the end of this episode, Kendall looked like he was finding his footing. He looked like he was kind of enjoying marking these battle lines.
He is marking these battle lines. I just don't know how he's going to get past the fact that he committed accidental manslaughter on someone. Like, how is he going to get over that?
Yeah.
Because he can't really do anything to his dad at this point. Yeah. And even when I guess it's his right-hand man, pulls Kendall aside and tells him, "Just so you know, they found the body at 4 a.m., found the key card. He was conscious enough to unbuckle his seatbelt."
Yeah, I think it's Colin.
Yeah, Colin.
Yeah.
So
But it looks like they were only going to find out that the guy was by himself. Poor Andrew was by himself, doing a bunch of ketamine.
Exactly. So I just don't know how he's gonna. If he's gonna do another play at his dad, which I don't think he will.
No, I think he's firmly in the family's like. I think in their grasp. He's got no choice, right? So
yeah, he's trapped in there. So maybe he'll excel like that. Who knows? So maybe he's on the come up. Maybe he'll become one of these strong men, as Marsha says.
I think so.
I don't think so.
Another line I love from Marsha she had with Logan, and I like their relationship too. She said, "I have to dance for Daddy too." When he asked her what her opinion was. And I loved it that she was like, listen, I'm not going to be part of this song and dance or the mind games that you play with everybody else. If you want to speak to me for real, talk to me for real. And so I like that she was like, she towed that line with him.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you like their relationship? How do you?
I do like their relationship. I think it's really unique considering we saw what his wife was like during at the wedding, and then to see, now he's with this woman like Marsha, who's just, I think, very supportive, and I think there's still more to uncover with all that. I know in season 1 they teased this idea that she might be taking advantage of him, but that was quickly dissolved, but maybe they'll come back into the limelight. I think she
might be playing the long game.
I think she's playing the major long game, maybe to just inheritance long game, getting half of everything. I don't know, but if I had to throw one more line out there, it was right after Logan tells Shiv that she's inheriting the company. She goes, "Is this real?" Yeah. Again, I think he's doing a version of the long game there. I think, he's offering that to her, but there's something in the back of his mind. There's something he's hiding. He hasn't revealed yet.
I don't know. I think it was genuine.
I don't know,
and I love that. I love the emotion that we got from her in that scene. I was almost emotional. Because you could see it, you could feel it. It was something she wanted, but she had just kind of closed it off from her heart until that moment.
She's a terrific actress, and so good in this series. I haven't seen her in anything else, but she's great, and obviously the most questionable of Logan because she isn't in the company. She went to the two sons first,
and I think she has that bitter taste in her mouth because of it, and so she's gonna be always distrustful and sort of hands office. So we'll see where that goes. But my other quote. And I love this one because it really showed the difference of the wealth disparity. But when he talks to the contractor who he thinks, put the raccoons there, he tells the contractor to sue him. He says, "My lawyer works for the Department of Justice. Who's your lawyer, Mr. Magoo?" And it was sad because at the end of the day, that's how a lot of this stuff works. Is who's got enough money to sue and outlast a lawsuit. Right. And so you can really screw people over if you're wealthy enough, and then they have no recourse.
They're untouchable in a way. And that was I didn't realize that they had replaced the roof. And I mean, he must have done something with that raccoon, maybe just to get him. He's like, "You're not going to stink me out."
But he seemed so genuine that maybe he didn't do anything. So.
Right, but he had this look in his eye like, it was a $300,000 roof. You only paid $100. He's like, sue me.
Yeah,
you can't.
But at the same time, I feel like that's such. I mean, you have to pay these people for their work and their time. So I feel like some of that may come back to bite this family.
Well, and you have so much money. Why can't you just pay the $300,000 roof? He's still frugal. But he's still taking advantage of the system, even though he's got this much money.
But I guess he thinks the guy put the raccoons there, so he's not going to pay a dime.
Now he's salty.
Oh, my God. Let us get into our top 3 traditional news killers.
Traditional news killers. Well, so first one... We gotta go. We're in a day and age where... Do you want to prep this?
Yeah, I was going to say... Okay. Well, we saw in the episode that it looks like this company's going to die regardless. So it's about kind of... taking it in the best path. I think Shiv had a really good line about that.
Shiv said, "Let's lose news." When she was giving her she said, "I haven't thought about this, but," and then she rattled off 80 things that she would do differently for the company, and the number one being get rid of news, lose news. It's bad press. You can only, I think, get a negative response from news. No one's ever really praising certain news stations.
Yeah, and the last few years, news has just really died off, and you see a lot of people going to these sort of the different news killers we're going to talk about.
Right. So the first one being Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's a huge news killer.
I mean, I get notifications about news through Twitter, and even when I'm on Twitter, the first thing I do is news feed.
Yeah, and
what's trending.
And whether or not you agree with President Trump, he certainly made Twitter pretty popular because that's where you're going to go to find out what's happening with the country.
Yeah, I think it's just such a convenient source. I mean, you don't really get to newspaper that much anymore.
Yeah,
and if you don't have cable, you're seeing it on your phone.
And because of the immediacy of Twitter, I find things break a lot quicker on Twitter before traditional news. I get updates on Twitter quicker than I'll see it on the news.
I completely agree. I mean, it's tragic what was happening last week with a whole bunch of the shootings, but I found that all out on my phone on Twitter.
Yeah.
I didn't find it any other way. Like it's just immediate. It's there. It's what's trending. You can go out in seconds and see it by refreshing Res News. You got to be on at like 6 o'clock and just happen to be in front of TV.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So yeah, I think it's different like that way. Obviously, you can follow certain news stations on Twitter and get their updates that way. But yeah, it's killing the TV viewings, and so that's definitely one. You want to do number 2?
Yeah. Well, Facebook is huge, and I mean, obviously, we know it's huge because like we had people doing disinformation campaigns on Facebook.
Yeah.
So when news is so big that you can try to make fake news and put it on Facebook, it's pretty big. I think that's the problem with Facebook and some of these other platforms is now it's like deciphering what is real and what is fake. But that speaks to how much usage they're getting, and that we're all turning to these platforms for that news.
And I mean, there's a conversation about whether a news station on TV is your reliable source of news to begin with. Mm-hmm. That's another conversation. But the fact that it's on these social medias. Look, you're reading headlines. Yeah. You don't even get that big of a conversation on TV news, but it's even more dumbed down on social media. So that's why we're calling these killers. We're not saying these are the best ways they get your news.
But they are killing traditional.
Absolutely. And it's skewed. Like there's algorithms to see like what type of news is Shaka Strong into.
So I'm going to be reading news all day long.
You're going to get fitness news. Yeah, exactly. Tune into Fit Club. Yeah, but so it's all going to be skewed to what we're into, as opposed to, if you're watching TV, it's the report. Yeah. It's what happened around the country
and Facebook news tends to be a little bit longer form because our third news killer you got
Snapchat.
Yeah, and that's for the little bites of news. And I love Snapchat because I can like maybe 40 stories in 2 minutes because there's very short seconds wise. Yeah,
I mean e-news, entertainment news. Yeah. That's where they survive right now is on Snapchat. Yeah. Like they own Snapchat, and it's just really fascinating to see how that's where it's gone. Like I bet that was just a tiny little focus in their company
it wasn't
3 years ago.
Oh yeah, that wasn't even the beginning focus or even a focus at all, but it evolved, Completely
evolved. It's probably the main focus now. And there's so many other companies that have just completely geared themselves towards Snapchat. Like how much information can we put in 10 seconds?
Exactly. And how cool would it be if we saw on Succession that this company somehow started to move to the digital age and we saw it play out and start to really hit those mediums? I would love to see that.
Yeah, and Shiv was hinting at that. She said just plan for the future.
Yeah.
Let's adapt. What do we think is going to be that next thing? Like, how are people going to get this information? She said we make indie films for what?
Yeah.
A trailer, like a commercial.
I'd love to see like Roman head that division. So we'll do our predictions. That kind of leads right into predictions for this season.
And now
your AfterBuzz TV
predictions. Nice. I think we could predict maybe a few of these storylines. Do you want me to start real quick? Mm-hmm. Shiv, I kind of want to ask you this actually.
Yeah.
So do you think by the end of this season she will be the head of 18?
I think she is going to be the sort of like female CEO powerhouse. I think
she's going to get it.
I think she's like the Phoenix Rising. When she said, yes, fuck yes, I want this job. Like when she said that and like I felt it and she meant it, I was like, she's been ready and prepared for this. But she was just so like put off by the fact that maybe because she was a girl, that was the only reason she never got a seat at the table.
Yeah, never considered.
Yeah, and so I think she's going to go. Yeah, she's going to be blazing.
Do you think Logan's out? I mean, that means Logan's out.
Oh, yeah. I think it'll happen in a good way. He might be an advisor. I think it'll happen in a good way.
I don't think she will.
No.
I don't think she will. I honestly think Logan's got something planned. He's got something underneath the covers. They even say when Kendall goes to Sandy and his friend and he delivers the message that Logan was too busy on a call to deliver. Yeah. He even says he will die and people go to prison. He will die before he sells his company. Before
he's not going to sell it. Yeah. But he'll let Shiv take over.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. I actually think it expands. I don't think he will let Shiv.
And what about Kendall? Where do you think Kendall's going to end up?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this is going to need to be a redemption season for him. A comeback, if you will.
Yeah, the family's got to.
Right. Is he going to become one of those strong men during these difficult times? I would love to see that. I hope that he gets a stride somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think for him to succeed, someone has to fail. Mm-hmm. And so I think he's going to slowly rise the ranks once again. But it's more, I think the whole consideration for him this season is more about his personal life. Like, is he going to get off the drugs? He was asking where's Jess? Like, where's the other assistant? Because she was always on top of me with all that stuff. And I think, it's just more about his personal life. I think he's going to get rid of the drugs by the end of the season, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think he's going to do the whole thing. He'll get a cleanup act. He'll start to redeem himself. And then I think the specter of Andrew Dodge will rear its ugly head. I think just as he's getting it right.
You think he's going to jail?
Yeah, I think just as I don't know if he's going to go to jail or if he'll be like dethroned from the company. But just as he's getting things right, I think that will come out, and then it'll just derail everything once again.
That'd be heartbreaking.
So I see it coming. I see it coming.
Oh my goodness.
Any more predictions for the season?
Let's see. I think.
Do you think does Connor get Napoleon's penis?
Right? Does he order it? That was hysterical. Oh my gosh. I mean, maybe that'll come into play. I don't think he's going to run for president. I think he's all talk. Obviously, I'm really curious to see what happens with Greg this season. Quite honestly, I think we got barely any of them this episode, so I hope we get more next week. So I predict that Greg is somehow going to get more promoted higher and up, and he's going to be like the weird success story of this entire show. So hopefully that happens to Greg.
And my last prediction, I think Connor will run for president, and I think we're going to. Of course. What's going to make this a really fun, exciting?
I love it.
And Connor, he needs a real good story, so I think we're going to see that.
I love it. It's great.
Oh man, I cannot wait for the rest of the season.
Nice, dude. I cannot wait for next week.
Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Shaka Smith. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Shaka Strong.
And I'm Ryan Nilsen. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Nilsen_. Ryan Nilsen_. Thanks guys for watching.
Nice. See you guys next week.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.